It's day 284 of Russia's unprovoked, brutal invasion of Ukraine, which, don't forget, Vladimir Putin believed would take all of 3 days to capture the capital city of Kyiv. Putin planned for a plodding invasion of conquest, reminiscent of rulers and wars of the past. Medieval, storm-the-castle-style warfare, essentially a continuation of what the Soviets used as their battle strategy. And like the Soviets before, Putin's initial strategy failed spectacularly, a failure that was visualized in a literal sense in the early days of the invasion in the shape of an extraordinary 40-plus mile-long convoy of stuck Russian tanks, trucks, personnel, and other equipment right outside of Kyiv. It was the first indication of massive logistical shortcomings and strategic ineptitude that have plagued Russia throughout its invasion. But despite the World War I-style trenches that mark the front in the eastern Ukraine, this is actually very much a modern war, a major technological turning point in the style of warfare, offering a glimpse of the battlefields of the future. More so than any other major battle before, both Ukraine and Russia have been successfully using drones for both offensive and defensive purposes, using them not only for reconnaissance, with which you are familiar, but for active attacks. Joining me now is the retired U.S. Army Major John Spencer. He's the chair of the Urban Warfare Studies program at the Madison Policy Forum. He's the co-author of an important new book called Understanding Urban Warfare. John, good to see you again. Thank you for being with us. Let's just talk a little about drones, because my audience may know them as the kind that you use for photography, or you can stick your phone in and take pictures, or we've known them as surveillance things, airplane-sized, things that are used for surveillance and sometimes attacks. We're talking about a whole new universe of drones in Ukraine. There are these so-called switchblade drones that are very, very small that can target an individual or a truck. There are big drones that carry ordnance, but they're being used in a way that we've not seen before.
Yeah, absolutely, Ali. It's the defining character of the current wars around the world is this spectrum of drones and the enabling functions that they provide on the battlefield, whether you're in the defense or the offense. Prevent surprise, which Sun Tzu said is the most important thing in war, and like that 40-mile convoy, it wasn't surprising to anybody where it was coming from. But also all the other functions, to be able to attack, the ability to put fear in your enemy's soldiers, the ability not to hide your key weapon systems, which we've seen. So it wasn't just the Ukrainians' use of MLRS and other Western weapons, but you had to find targets on the battlefield. So this, like urban warfare, the fact that the decisive battles of any future conflict will be fought in urban areas and for urban areas, the presence of drones, from things that we can buy at Walmart to the highest end loitering TB2 Bayraktar drone that can destroy tanks, is the future.
The Bayraktar drone you just mentioned is it's a Turkish-made drone. It's become sort of popular culture in Ukraine because of the effectiveness of it. Both sides are using drones right now. In fact, I guess when you talk about urban warfare and the fact that battles are fought in cities, which is something we learned obviously in Iraq and in battles since then, how do drones work on both the offensive side and the defensive side? What's the way in which a drone works in a place where you would think you would normally need infantry, you'd need people in the streets of a city to win it over?
So, of course, you still need trained, motivated soldiers to move forward and take urban terrain and to hold urban terrain. But these are changing everything in the aspects of how you see the battlefield, whether it's close in front of you, like around the street corner, or 40 miles away from you so that you can't be surprised, but also the ability of how to integrate fires into your plans to defend or attack. You can put precision fires places that you couldn't ever do before because of this omnipresent, all-seeing eye that you can put on the battlefield. And by you, I mean everybody from a civilian helping in the battle to your version of the Pentagon, to allocate strategic resources, even if you don't have. And that's what we saw in the beginning of the war. Ukraine had some, like the Bayraktars, and I actually brought a Bayraktar stuffed, basically stuffed animal back for my kids when I visited Kyiv recently. It is synonymous with their ability to stop such a powerful military, because that powerful military can't hide.
John, good to talk to you. We appreciate your expertise and your amazing new book. So thanks for being with us this morning. Retired Army Major John Spencer is the chair of the Urban Warfare Studies program at the Madison Policy Forum. He's the author of a great new book called Urban Warfare, Understanding Urban Warfare.